And stay safe. From KCRG TV9, this is First Alert Weather Now.
Hello and good evening and welcome to First Alert Weather Now for the Tuesday evening edition. I'm meteorologist Thompson.
And I'm meteorologist Messier.
And it was a day that actually featured a couple of raindrops in a couple of places, which is an unusual thing to say lately.
I even saw some lightning on the drive into work, some pretty cool cloud-to-cloud lightning.
Okay.
Nice little light show the clouds put on in addition to the rain.
For sure, and I heard a little bit of that thunder too as a little bit of that rain was coming down. We'll talk about whether we can see more of that coming in the near future, as well as a look at this week's weather-wise question.
That's right, we've talked about extremes in this week's weather-wise question. I'll let you know all about it in a few minutes, but first let's take a look at what we saw for rainfall in the last 24 hours. Marshalltown got 0.08 inches of rainfall, the most in the area. Waterloo at 0.07. Decorah at 0.02. Cedar Rapids got in on a little bit of the fun at 0.01 inches. In Dubuque didn't receive any of that rain, unfortunately. Not enough to really change the fact that we are so dry out there, but any little bit of rain helps out. And in our first alert forecast, we're talking about some cooling temperatures. This afternoon was a little bit cooler, but we're going to continue to see that cooling trend. Highs in the 60s on Wednesday, which will be very fall-like. We actually do have a few more rain chances also in the 9-day forecast. So a little bit more of what we saw this morning is expected. We're looking ahead to Thursday, and it'll be a little warmer on Thursday. However, the fall-like temperatures will come back for the weekend with highs in the 60s. Now this is what it looks like on our Marion City Cam. A beautiful evening out there with temperatures in the 60s and 70s. 67 in Cedar Rapids, 70 in Iowa City, and 67 in Marion, with winds mainly coming out of the west around 5 to 10 miles per hour. So clear skies are out there on our satellite radar this evening, not just in Marion, but pretty much everywhere. And temperatures will drop into the 40s and 50s overnight with some cloud cover and winds out of the northwest, 10 to 20. Do you think the 40s and 50s are cool enough to keep the window open at night, Corey?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, anything below the 60s probably would be reasonable enough. I know some folks have said in the past humidity makes a difference in those levels. And tonight our air is pretty dry, too, so I don't think that's going to be a huge concern.
Very comfortable fall-like night.
Indeed. We have more comfortable fall-like days mixed in across the next night. Meteorologist Joe Winters has today's forecast for fun, which includes some of those.
Seen a little bit of rain in the area, certainly we've talked about that. Now, though, as we head through the next several days, if you have some plans, we'd like to see it rain free, and for the most part, I think that's what you'll find in your forecast for fun. There could be some rain on Thursday, but that Thursday rain you're seeing is late Thursday, probably Thursday night, not generally during your afternoon walk. 65 on Wednesday, 68 Thursday, and 65 on Friday. Notice a gradual turn toward a more northwesterly wind, giving us a more fall-like feel. Highs tomorrow will be in the 60s, but as we look at our fall activities forecast, 50s at noon as well as 6 p.m. to start the day tomorrow as well, close to 50 degrees. The Witch Walk, Sip and Shop in Swisher, that comes up on Thursday, 60s. The possibility is there for an isolated shower. Best chance would be later in the day. And don't forget, our haunted house is really ramping up the next couple of weeks. Thursday, maybe a little rain in the area for the haunted house tours. Dry, though, Friday and Saturday as we stay in the 60s. For Friday Night Lights, it is a game, the last one of the regular season on KCRG 9.2. 7 o'clock, Keokuk at Mount Vernon, 54 at kickoff, 47 in the fourth quarter. And don't forget, it is homecoming for the Iowa Hawkeyes at the Pentecrest. It's Iowa Shout that comes up on Thursday. Possibly a shower or storm between that time. 68 degrees. It's an evening event. And the homecoming parade right now at 5:45 as it steps off on Friday looks beautiful with a temperature near 59 degrees. As we head into the upcoming weekend, it also looks nice for anything you're doing outside. Enjoy your forecast for fun.
Now, your First Alert forecast with meteorologist Thompson.
In the next 24 hours, largely not any weather issues there either. We highlight everything here in green on your first alert, including the wind box, even though there will be some blusteriness to our Wednesday, but probably not so much that you'll need to make any major changes to your plans. Lovely sunset this evening. Solon City Cam shows a nice glow on the horizon looking to the west. Temperatures are still pretty mild out there too. We're talking about 70 degrees in Solon at this hour, 66 in Dubuque. Winds currently in eastern Iowa are out of the west, about 5 to 10 miles per hour. You can see the flag in Solon. Not moving a whole lot, but they will start to later on this evening. That's as a cold front moves through. By 10 o'clock tonight, probably past most of the TV9 viewing area, and this area of high pressure settling in behind it. But the initial movement will be of some decent northwesterly wind. You can already see that building off to our northwest. Sioux Falls reporting wind sustained at 23 miles per hour. The northwest. Omaha seen that wind shift, but the stronger speeds haven't made it there yet. Where winds are out of the south or the west, you're still ahead of that cold front, and still a couple more hour process here for that to sweep by. So 8 o'clock tonight, we see it entering our northwest counties on Pinpoint Futurecast and sliding a little bit farther southeast from there. So 11 o'clock, we were talking about having cleared most of the TV9 viewing area, and then overnight, as we get cooler air moving in, a batch of clouds moves in. So we are expecting a decent amount of cloud cover to start off your day on Wednesday, but not much in the way of precipitation. A sprinkle or two could be falling out of this. We've seen that try to happen to our northwest, but dry air really could win out here and keep us mostly dry. We saw mostly that take place this morning too, and this has even less moisture to work with. Now by later tomorrow morning into the afternoon, it does look like a decent amount of clearing will work in. Now some pop-up clouds could occur with this as we heat things up a little bit. That builds up just a slight amount of instability, and the air rises into that cooler air loft and forms some of those clouds. But by tomorrow night, clearer skies look like a pretty good bet. Your first alert forecast overnight tonight, 44 degrees in Charles City where that front moves through first, 50 in Mount Pleasant where it sweeps by last. Mostly cloudy skies, especially later on tonight. Winds out of the northwest between about 10 to 20 behind that front. They stay about that strong for most of the day tomorrow. Now they will get a little bit lighter later in the afternoon, evening. Before that though, a pretty cool one, especially compared to what we've seen so far this week. 58 in Decorah, 65 in Iowa City. So a little bit of a disparity there. Our northern communities getting closest to normal for the day. You see those speeds hanging around midnight and beyond, even through tomorrow morning. Lunchtime looks a little blustery, but by dinner and beyond tomorrow, we're talking much lighter winds. That's going to set up a very chilly start to the day on Thursday. We could be talking about a little bit of frosty condition then. It's the area of high pressure keeping us quiet during that time frame. Later on Thursday is when it moves far enough away. Some southerly winds out ahead of another storm system brings the chance for a few showers and storms back into our picture. That's Thursday evening, Thursday night, and then by Friday morning, it's already off to the east. So we are expecting a dry day to wrap up the work and school week. The weekend also looking pretty dry, as meteorologist Joe Winters mentioned there. But as we head toward next week, a little bit of southerly flow really kicks in on Sunday into Monday. We're going to see more warm temperatures and, yes, some more moisture making an arrival, giving us a shot at some showers and storms again by that time. So our 9-day forecast shows that trend. 60 staying with us through the weekend. A little bit of a bump on Thursday ahead of that chance for showers and storms, but a little bit of a cool down behind it. More 30s for lows over the weekend too. It's early next week when we return to the 70s yet again. This late in the month of October, 70s are rare. Some folks could get close to 80 again by Tuesday. But with that shower and storm chance, things turn cooler again. Halloween at this point looking cooler, but not cold. It certainly has been colder even in a few of the last years.
You know, seeing the fact that there are more 60s than 70s on that forecast is pretty great. Tomorrow morning, perfect for a hot cup of coffee or sitting outside on your porch with a blanket, you know, fall-like conditions.
For sure, and we'll have more of those going forward, of course. Everything on the 9-day, though, not necessarily falling into extremes. We're just kind of on the edges, I guess, especially next Monday and Tuesday when it's warmer.
Yep, we'll keep an eye on next week, definitely. But first, we're going to look at this week's weather-wise question. This week's question is about how hot and cold it can get in Iowa.
What is the highest temperature it's ever hit in Iowa?
Thank you so much, Ava, for that question. The highest temperature it has ever gotten in Iowa was 118 degrees. This temperature was recorded in Keokuk, so in far southeastern Iowa, in July 20th, 1934. So that can get pretty hot in Iowa, but it can also get pretty cold in the Hawkeye State. The coldest temperature ever recorded, -47. This happened in both Elkader and Washita. In Elkader, it happened on February 3rd, 1996. In Washita, this happened on January 12th, 1912. Let's take a closer look at eastern Iowa, though. So in Cedar Rapids, the hottest temperature ever recorded was 110 in 1911. 110 is also the hottest it's ever gotten in Dubuque, which occurred in 1936. Waterloo is the warmest it's ever gotten in eastern Iowa at 112. That occurred in 1936. Iowa City, 108 in 1901 and 1936. Now let's go to those record low temperatures. The coldest it's ever gotten in Cedar Rapids was -30 in 2019, but the absolute coldest it's ever gotten in eastern Iowa once again goes to Waterloo at -34, which happened in 2009 and in 1962. The coldest it's ever gotten in Iowa City and in Dubuque, -32 in Iowa City. That happened in 1905 and 2019. In Dubuque, that happened in 1887. So it can get pretty hot and cold in eastern Iowa, so we'll take the 60s that we're seeing in the forecast. Now, of course, you can head over to kcrg.com/unews to submit video questions if you have a question you'd like answered here on Weather Now.
Thanks, Hannah. And yeah, no extremes coming up. We're not talking about below zero temperatures or record-setting highs, at least in the near future. Just some windier conditions over the next few days. That's as another storm system approaches on Thursday. Cold front brings in those northwest winds for tomorrow. Southeast winds return on Thursday. And that's just the first of another handful of windier days. Looks like Saturday may be the one exception here, looking over the next several days. Sunday and Monday, those winds really kick in from the south. This time of year, because our days are getting shorter and that sun angle is getting lower, it's harder just to heat up on our own basis. So we need the wind usually to give us a little boost and put those temperatures higher. So that's what sends us from the low 60s on the weekend back to the 70s by Monday and Tuesday. Notice that shower and storm chance next Tuesday as a storm system. That is still several days away. So its exact track and exact timing is still a little bit uncertain, but it does look like that Tuesday, Wednesday, and even into the Thursday time period carries the chance for some shower or storm activity. Best chance for storms would be early on that process. Now, as it stands, our 9-day forecast does include that shower chance on next Thursday, which is, of course, Halloween. We'll be keeping a close eye on that holiday too as it gets a little bit closer. Trick-or-treaters prefer dry weather, at least most of them, I imagine. I certainly did when I was young, and we will try our best to get that going by that time.
You know, one of the saddest things about being a child and wanting to be a pretty princess for Halloween is having to put your winter coat on over your sparkly pink dress.
That is for sure, and it looks like we may avoid that too, but of course, as we always say, stay tuned.
I mean, it is still 9 days away, but another thing that I've noticed on the 9-day forecast are no 50s. We're supposed to be in the upper 50s by now, Corey.
Not quite, but a few places will, and we'll have to wait and see. Looking into the next month, the trend, at least the longer term picture, still does favor keeping things a little bit above normal. Does win out eventually. We're not going to have a winter with no 50s, but we will have to just bide our time until then.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that forecast.
Indeed, and we will be back here tomorrow night to bring you the latest here on First Alert Weather Now. Thanks for joining us.